Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is your old buddy Kevy Brassard coming back to you again. Today, I believe it's the 11th of January 2019. It's a Friday evening. I'm down here in my basement shop, and today I'm doing this video for personal documentation and public assessment and viewing of my current project, the 1972 Honda CB500. That's right. Now this bike has been deemed by myself the Uncle Dwayne bike. Reason being, well, I got this from my employer, Mark Hill, and my buddy, Loring Hill's brother and uncle, Mr. Dwayne Hill. This bike appears to have very low hours and miles on it. It's got the correct odometer up here. It's only got 376 miles on it, which is pretty remarkable. 1972, so I think it just did a lot of sitting in its life. If you look down here, it's got a 1977 New York State inspection sticker on it. And there was something else that I did see that I can't remember at the moment that had a later date on it in which it may have been ridden, but this bike's overall in pretty good shape other than sitting in the weather. I've done some minor things, I'll get to them in just a second. I got a battery thrown in it right now. This is a battery out of my CB500, so it's not really the correct battery, that's why it's in backwards. If I could get the terminals to work, but as you can see, flip the key on, we got electricity, and we got a horn. Two of the most important things on the bike. So if you go over here to my bench, we'll make our way over here past the memorabilia on the walls and the Slayer in the background. I'll show you some of the current progress I've made on this machine. As you see over here, the rack for the carb bank. No carbs. Where the fuck did they go? Well, the answer to that's simple. I got all of my carburetors all completely disassembled, and they're over at Mr. Tom Leahy's shop in Constable, New York. Getting ultrasonically cleaned, get all the nasty shit out of them. Number 4 was really bad. If you look at the emulsion tube right here, she's gummed up pretty good. Needs a good cleaning. Almost looks a little tweaked. I don't know. Maybe not. But, yeah, so all these parts here still need to be cleaned. I got carb kits on the way. Up here, we got our petcock assembly all disassembled. Seals and everything. Everything's all pretty stiff. 50-year-old seals, you know, 40, what is it? 2019. Oh, math. About 47-year-old seals and everything. As you can see, our petcock's pretty friggin' nasty. I got a petcock rebuild kit coming. I could have got a new petcock for around 80 bucks, but I got the seal kit for a lot cheaper, the rebuild kit. I'm going to see if I can make this original one work. I thought it was pretty odd that this, the fuel tube right here looks bent, but from all the pictures I've seen of petcocks of these, they're supposed to be like that. I don't know if it's just because of the shape of the tank for better gas flow or what the thinking behind that is, but if you can look right there, there's a big crack in that tube. I don't know if it got wet and froze and expanded and cracked or what the story is, but it's a good thing about working on old Hondas and old bikes in general. There's always a story, and most of the time it's untold, so you got to figure it out as you go. For those of you who don't know, I work at Fourth Coast 4s in Waddington, New York, where we specialize on vintage American-made 4-cylinder motorcycles, specifically Henderson and Indians. And I've gotten a lot of practice and a lot of good tips and good work ethic from working there as far as when it comes to working on vintage bikes. My employer might not agree that I have good work ethic as far as showing up to work on time, but I'm working on that. So, you see over here, what I'm currently working on is disassembling the master cylinder for the brakes. Everything's all kind of froze up in here. I actually, at my workplace, as you can see, it's missing the rubber diaphragm out of there for some reason. I recently did a carb clean, reinstall, and a brake rebuild on a 1975 Honda CB500 Super Sport owned by Mr. Ed Myro, and that was quite the learning experience, as it has a lot of the same parts as my machine that I'm currently working on at my residence. But as you can see, everything's pretty freaking nasty in there. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this completely disassembled with the tools at my disposal at my house right now, but get everything torn down for the most part, as far as I can go. And I'm eventually going to have to order a rebuild kit for this, and I assume the new brake caliper kit. My brake lines might be fine, might not be fine. I'm not sure yet. I haven't got that far. I've been joined by Miss Lily Annaby over here. Well, now. So that's where we're at so far. Here's the tank. I'm going to have to get a new drive chain for it because it's just all rusty and crusty. Started out brand new with that. I don't want to mess around with that. Tank is, I'd give it a 50% good, 50% bad rating. It's got some rust in there. It's not rotted though. It's not super penetrated. A lot of it's just surface rust, I think. So I think that's good and fixable. Maybe a little apple cider vinegar soak, or I don't think it'll take too much. But as you can see on this tank, it's got a little sun fading going on. It's got this peppery rust on the top. And we'll go back over here to the bike itself. Hopefully my tank doesn't fall and dent itself and piss me off. But you can see this bike, it definitely looks like it was sitting for a while. The chrome's all peppered with some rust, a lot of peppered rust on the rims, some custom exhaust work on it, which I didn't do myself. I'm not that good at fabricating, don't fool yourself. But I'm going to leave this bike exactly like it is. I'm going to clean the dirt and everything off it, and I want this thing to look like I dragged it out of old Farmer Fred's barn, because I think that looks pretty damn cool. Probably get a new tail lens, just to... I'll fix the broken pieces, but as far as appearance-wise, I'm going to leave this sucker exactly how it is. My seat doesn't even have any rips in it. The seat's under the bench over there, which, by the way, the bench was donated by Fourth Coast Fours. It's become my my basement workbench. So, yeah, that's about it so far. Waiting on my carb parts, waiting for my carbs to actually come back. I haven't even pulled the freaking plugs out of this thing since I've owned it. So that'll be an interesting affair. Apparently, buddy Uncle Dwayne had this sucker running, and he said she combusted. She caught on fire. Not too much evidence of a fire mishap. A little bit of wire insulation melting and things of that nature, but nothing too bad. I think it's a it's obviously a very workable project. I gotta get a new starter solenoid. It'll engage my starter, but I gotta jump the contacts, so I think my solenoid's done kicked the bucket. Need to get do an oil change on it, get an oil filter. I think I got one coming actually. I got my carb kits coming, my petcock kit, and my seal kit, the O-rings for the tubes, the fuel tubes that go between the carburetors. That's also coming in the mail. Eventually I'm going to need to order, like I said, the master cylinder rebuild kit. I assume, obviously, the brake caliper kit. I'm going to try to make all these old lines work, but if there's any splits or anything in them, I can get new lines. I think this is going to be a sweet bike, guys. I'm really excited for it. I just bought a CB500 last year, took a loan out and everything, and just build my credit, you know. I'm a young man. I need to build my credit. And I don't know. I think I like this one more. Maybe it's because I got it for free. I don't know. But I just think it's a pretty rad looking bike. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's got very little miles on it, and I think it's going to be a great machine. I'm hopefully going to be chooching this thing down to Fourth Coast Forest this spring and summer, as long as I can maintain my on-time ability and be to work on time, because that's a big thing, you know, you got to be to work on time. But that's point for another video. You see down here, I got the seat. Honda. Not even a rip in it. This thing hasn't had a very hard life. I got my airbox assembly down here. Need to get an air filter. And I just need to get some bolts to tack all that together yet. But I got a couple Honda Nighthawks, a 650 and a 550 back at my farm. Took all the solenoids off those, but it's not quite the same. It's got different wire hookups, and I'm not incredibly experienced with electrical matters as far as like in motors and things like that, so I didn't really go too far with that. I didn't even hook it up. It was different, so I figured, oh, I'll wait on that. But I think we got a good head start on her. Start working on the brakes, take the wheels off, check the wheel bearings, check the back brakes. Structurally though, like the forks and everything, the suspension I think is all fine on this thing. It's all good. So the Honda CB500 Uncle Dwayne bike will be chooching down the road in 2019. That's the plan, guys. This is your buddy Kevy Brassard. Back again. Another video. January 11th, 2019. Y'all have a good evening.